What's going on, everyone? Tayler Kyles here from CLNS Media, joined by Evan Lazar of Patriots.com, here live on Radio Row at the NFL Combine, where earlier today we heard from each of the quarterback prospects that are at the Combine. Obviously, the Patriots got interviews with each of the top prospects, namely Caleb Williams, Drake Maye, and Jayden Daniels. Caleb Williams now, we heard from him, found out that he's not going to do the medical testing. He said, you know what, if you want me, we can do the medical testing there, but he's not going to go through that. What were your impressions on what we heard from him during his availability?
Well, I thought it was pretty much what I expected out of Caleb Williams. Look, I don't care about his personality. Like, if that's what you're into and you care about those sort of things, then I'm not going to knock you for it. But for me personally, it's all about the film. You know that. You know, what do you put on the field? What do you do between the lines? I think that there is something to be said, though, for the fact that this is the new day and age with these star athletes, especially these guys that are going to come into the league with these huge NIL deals from their past and all these types of things. We need to get used to this. I feel like that these guys are going to treat this process a little bit differently because, frankly, this process is a little ridiculous. Like, for anybody sort of normal person, the fact that you get drafted somewhere, the fact that you have to go through this gauntlet at the Combine, we didn't have to do that to get our jobs, right? So this is welcome to the new world.
Yeah, and especially with this version of the Patriots, it feels like, like you mentioned, with like his personality, it's a little different. Other Patriots regimes, maybe, that might be a knock or something like that. But as we know, they're kind of changing direction, so maybe they're more open and kind of more thoughtful to, this is just this guy. Like you said, put on the tape. That's what's most important. Well, they did mention like toughness, leadership ability, and things like that, which intrigued me about Drake Maye, because I really thought he had a lot of really good energy today. I was excited to kind of listen to his answers. He had some charisma. What do you think about his availability and obviously the potential fit if he's actually available at number 3?
Yeah, I think he's blown teams away around the Combine as well in these interviews too, with his energy and with his ability to kind of capture a room with that energy. And I feel like that's exactly what he did when he jumped right up on the podium there and was like, I'm ready to go. So that really, to me, reflects his playing style in a lot of ways. And I thought we'll get to Jayden in a second. I thought he reflected his playing style with the cool, calm and demeanor. It's sort of the same thing. So I thought that was interesting, how it almost was like he's this Energizer bunny, like he plays on the field, which sometimes is a detriment, sometimes it's a good thing. And then with Jayden Daniels, he's sort of this calm, cool type of guy. And I thought a lot of that was very similar to how he handled himself at the podium. So I really liked what I had to hear from Drake Maye, a little southern drawl on him and everything. So he would be a different cat for the Patriots, I think, than what they've had in the past at that spot.
Absolutely. Then you mentioned Jayden Daniels. Now, he was calm, cool, collected. It was really interesting to see because you don't get a lot of flashes, of his personality outside of the field. So that was cool to see. Said it would be dope if he ended up joining the Patriots. It seems like he's most likely to be there at number 3, although obviously there has been buzz that he could go number 2 to the Commanders. What did you think specifically about his availability? And again, the scheme fit if he ends up in New England?
Well, it's interesting because I think it started with Drake Maye being the consensus QB2 after the college football season. And as this tends to work, as the process goes along, now all of a sudden you hear a lot more of Jayden Daniels as QB2. And I think it depends on who you're listening to. And 32 teams, 32 general managers, 32 scouting departments. There's a lot of people that talk, right? So the consensus, I think, is often difficult to figure out. But in terms of him at the podium, it's like I just said, cool, calm, relaxed, which is how I feel like he plays in the pocket. I never really see him be sped up or the moment be too big for him. He's someone that was really good in the clutch too, in the moments that he had those opportunities at LSU. So definitely felt that at the podium. He's not this, gravitational force maybe that Drake Maye seemed to be like, but he's just kind of this cool, calm, quiet confidence to him.
And then tomorrow, we're actually going to get to see some of these guys on the field. We know, like Drake Maye and Jayden Daniels, I don't think they're going to be going through the drills or throwing or anything like that. But you also got guys like J.J. McCarthy, you got Bo Nix, other guys who could be in that first-round conversation, could be in the market for the Pats. What are you going to be looking for tomorrow when these guys take the field?
Well, look, I'm trying with J.J. McCarthy. I got to admit, he's not necessarily my cup of tea because I feel like right now he's more of a thrower than he is a quarterback. Like, you look at a lot of the little things on film, the decision-making, the processing, the ability to control the pitch that he's throwing, in terms of velocity. He doesn't necessarily do all those little details very well right now, but in this setting, I feel like he will put on a pretty good show because I have no questions about arm strength. I just have questions about some of the little minutiae of the quarterback position that he didn't necessarily have to do at Michigan because of the type of offense they ran and all those kinds of things. So I'm expecting him to throw the ball well. I'm expecting Michael Penix to throw the ball well. I mean, down at the Senior Bowl, he definitely threw it well, and I think that he's somebody that will have some lasers out there that can see that real big arm that he does have.
Yeah, Penix, I thought it was interesting. He said that he didn't speak to the Patriots here. Same for Spencer Rattler, although I think they did meet at the Senior Bowl. So there is a history there. They have spoken, but because the Patriots have met with the other top prospects, thought it was kind of interesting. Did you glean anything from that, or do you just think, hey, there's limited time that you have to actually talk to these guys? If you've already met them, these are already kind of brief interviews. Maybe that's just going to be something that maybe commit to like a top 30 visit.
Yeah, that's the way I lean as of right now. Now, it's easy to look at it and say, well, maybe if they're taking a quarterback at 3, there's no reason to waste time with Michael Penix or Spencer Rattler because those guys are probably going to be available a little bit later in the draft. But the way I took it was those guys were in Mobile. They were at the Senior Bowl, so they had those opportunities to meet those guys there. And that's really what these are. They're 18-minute interviews. They're meet and greets. They're, hey, how you doing? What's your, how's your family? How's this? How's that? And then maybe a little bit of football. But it's not really where you get into the top 30 visits. That's really the job interview when you start to talk about these prospects. So I think that that's where I would lean right now, is that they probably already have enough exposure at this point to those players.
Thank you, Evan. Keep it locked on Patriots Press Pass. We'll have you updated with all the news and updates regarding the Patriots here live at the NFL Combine.
Testing my skills on Prize Picks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Use the code CLNS for the first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.